Hello! Welcome to the first video of 2011. Well, my first video of 2011 anyway. New things this year. I've manoeuvred the sofa around a bit so you're looking at slightly less tatty, filthy and ruined part of it. I've stuck a wide angle adapter on the lens so a bit more fits in shot. And as you may be able to tell, I've finally got myself a proper microphone. It's wireless and everything. And, well, if I'm not sounding clearer than I used to, then I've wasted my money like an idiot. Again. Anyway, fake action figures. Right, based off the G.I. Joe franchise, which I think is what they said in the American cartoon. I don't know, our version was slightly different. In fact, yeah, I'm going to have to do an explanation of G.I. Joe, aren't we? Right, are you sitting uncomfortably? Me too. Right, in America, they made dolls for boys. They were called G.I. Joe. It was like a soldier and he had guns and he fought people. And sometimes he had a beard and kung fu grip, and other times he... And then they made smaller versions of the figures at the same size as Star Wars figures, called them, I think, G.I. Joe, a real American hero, and it was like a selection of military experts with different expertises, and they all fought together against the evil forces of Cobra, and all that stuff. That's very simple, isn't it? Here's the UK take on it. Right, G.I. Joe was imported over here and bizarrely called Action Man. Then a company, I think it was Palitoy, made tiny little figures sort of based off Action Man. Here's one of them. As you can see, simple articulation, blah blah blah, and the slightly odd articulation for rifle holding, so I've never seen another figure. Anyway, yeah, they had various different soldiers around the world, so like there was a Nazi stormtrooper Action Man, yes really, and a desert rat Action Man, an American World War II soldier Action Man, all this sort of stuff. Then they span off into sort of little groups, this one being from Z-Force, the sort of land group. Most of them were just repaints and rehashes of the old figures. Then they started importing the American G.I. Joe figures and repainting them and giving them away as vehicle drivers. I don't have any of those to show you because they're very expensive. I used to have a complete set, but I just sold them to pay the rent once. Bloody reality. Anyway, yeah, then they started to integrate more tightly by completely throwing away their own Palitoy figures and introducing the American G.I. Joe ones under the name of Action Force. You'll notice they are far better articulated and stuff. Also, then they renamed them, I think, G.I. Joe, the Action Force, and then just gave up completely and just called them G.I. Joe over here as well. Right. Was that relevant? Probably not, but I've said it now, and you know what? Editing is hard work. So let's have a look at some horrible fake ones that I bought in Poundland. You know it's just going to be fantastic. Yes. Army playset. Hours of play. Low quality play, but play nonetheless. As you can see, for £1, you actually get an astonishing amount of stuff. I mean, there's 3 figures in there and all sorts of crazy crap. There's also a sad onion telling us not to give it to kids between 0 and 3. Please recycle this packaging. And just a bit of cardboard on the back. Right, let's see what works. God, there's even more stuff than I thought, actually. Right, we've got... Oh, my crikey. Whoa, I feel a bit ill. Look at this soldier's face. Well, you can look at his back with all the screw holes in it, if you like, but look at this. Dun, 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 dun. I see everything, everything. Yes, he's got the biggest eyes in the universe. What on earth's going on there? You know, I mean, if you're going to do whites of eyes, keep them small. He looks like an anime character who's escaped into the real world. Anyway, there's soldier number 1. He doesn't even have a helmet, bless him. Here's soldier number 2, which has got a fairly serious skin complaint, judging by the lack of anything going on there. Also, his hand is horribly deformed. Deformed. Next up, we've got one right at the back, who I can barely reach from here. Yeah, he's sort of the same man, but he's got some sunglasses and slightly different webbing. So there we are. Here's our action trio. I shall name them Gruff, Gruff 2, and Mr. Plibby. Right, what else have they got? A sort of German Shepherd dog thing that's coming apart at the seams. There we are. It's a fake German Shepherd they can hide their contraband in. That's a bit weird, and probably not intentional. They've also got a small bush, useful for any military procedure, of course. A root armament sign, just in case people didn't know they were there. Some sandbags to hide behind, that's a bit more sensible. A cool bike to burn around on. I bet they can't actually ride it though. Let's have a go. Well, I sort of can. Of course, you probably wouldn't ride a motorbike without a hat on unless you were a big silly or you enjoyed cranial injuries. We've got a flag. I was kind of assuming they're American soldiers, but what is that the flag of? Is it some flag they've invented and stuck a picture of a helicopter on? Yes, I think so. Let's see if the autofocus can help us. Ah, I may have noticed a problem with the wide-angle adapter. It doesn't let me focus on anything close. Never mind, let's put that back over there and pretend we saw it properly. Guns. Oh yeah, you've got to have lots of guns and rockets and bits of walls which probably fit together. Yeah, they can have their own really incredibly derelict house to live in. This old house ain't got no shingles. This old house ain't got no floor. Some razor wire, I think, actually. Cool, I'm in business. A signpost telling you how to get to victory, which is always useful in a war situation. Something else that something's got to plug into, but I don't think we've got the thing that plugs into it. The handlebars off the bike, maybe? Oh, no. No, these are the handlebars off the bike. Oh. So what is that off? I don't know. It's a random crank. You know, like a phone-in caller on a radio show. A barrel and lots more guns. No, that's flag. Lots more guns. One each. Spot a problem with the guns. Let's get one of them out to try and hold the gun, shall we? Unfortunately, can't, because it's clearly made for an entirely different scale and just looks ridiculous. Oh well, at least it sort of stays in his hand. That's something. Dagger, dagger, dagger. Oh well, there you go. That's what you get for £1. I must say, actually, to keep the kids quiet, that's brilliant for £1, isn't it? There's all sorts of crap there they can play about with, then get stuck in their fingers and have to go to the hospital. Marvellous. Right, so let's clear some room. Okay, that's all that cleared away, and I've also fixed the focus on the camcorder because you've really got to see the faces on these. The faces of Army Force. Dun 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 dun. From Top Toys. Far nicer packaging than the last one, you'll notice, although that's not really difficult. On the minus side, things sort of move around inside. These were donated to me, I believe, and I can't remember who by because I'm an idiot, so thank you if you sent them in. I was so excited when they arrived, I've ripped the packaging all open already. Sorry, everyone. Right, anyway, let's see what lurks inside. You will notice that these are more figure-centric rather than accessory-centric like the last ones. Oh dear, there's bits falling out everywhere. This isn't a good sign. Can we find the bit that fell? Yes! It was a backpack. Right, let's meet the team, shall we? Here's that bloke, you know, the one with the face and the beard. Actually, it looks like he was trying to swallow an inkwell and came off quite badly, really. I don't quite see what's... yeah, that's slightly frightening. And why has he only got one glove? He's not bloody Michael Jackson. Next up, we have the one who's in charge, because he's got a beret. Also, there's something a bit sort of not right in the face area. Somebody's tried to draw eyes and eyebrows on, and it's just kind of turned into something deeply unpleasant that I don't really want to think about. Also, he's got green patches up his arms, meaning he's probably a zombie. But wait for it, we've now got the Grunts. I think these two figures are identical, actually, yes. You'll notice that they appear to have had their faces painted by somebody who just got a mouthful of paint, swished it around a bit, and then went on the faces of the figures. Either that, or they've got very cleverly painted balaclavas. Yeah. Right, the legs break off when you try and bend them. Quality is not something that's oozing out of these. Anyway, let's stick with the one who's still got all his legs, while the other one collects his military pension. Backpack. Does it fit in? Kind of. Yes, there we are. Kind of works the accessory there. Do the guns fit in the hands? Of course not. Don't be silly. Maybe he can use the megaphone here. Yes, he can. There we are. So they can't actually shoot people, but they can shout at them very loudly. It's all useful. Here we are. I can take this grenade with him as well. So he's got some form of self-defense, as long as he's got some sandbags or something to hide behind. Other guns, all too big. I mean, what is that, an Uzi? An Uzi bigger than your leg? That doesn't really work, does it? But here's the real pièce de résistance. They've got themselves some kind of Alsatian as well, and bizarrely, he's a key ring. I just noticed what all that's about. But it's the eyes on this one. You thought they were big on the soldier from the last one. Dun, 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 dun. Imagine that. I mean, if you had that on your side in a war, the enemy would just surrender immediately, wouldn't they, after taking one look at your gigantic goggle-eyed jackal. I'm Sergeant Anthony Gambello, laser infantry and electronics expert. I am Captain Grant Campbell, commander of Z-Force and expert in military strategy. Hey, you guys! Chocolate! Ruth! 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 Baby Ruth! Chocolate! And finally, we've saved kind of the best till last, another kindly donation, and probably the closest rip-off of G.I. Joe you'll ever find. Stop versus Scum! We like our acronyms. Right, apparently STOP stands for Special Tactics Operative Patrol, whereas SCUM stands for Street Coalition Urban Militia. I would guess that STOP are nice and SCUM are nasty, judging by the graphics at the back there. There's the figure, we'll come back to him. He's called Patriot. He's fully posable and has weapon included, which is always nice. Notice that the packaging is like really high class. Dangerously high class as compared to the others, in fact. Unfortunately, it's not carried through to the figure, as you may be getting the idea of there, which is a shame. Somebody worked hard on the packaging and they put a load of poop in it. Anyway, we can now read the story of Stop versus Scum. Are you sitting uncomfortably? I know I did this joke earlier. Right, after Armageddon and the collapse of civilization, the world fell into the hands of evil warlords known as Scum, Special Coalition Urban Militia. In the chaotic world, Scum prospered, infiltrating cities and leaving death, destruction and despair in their wake. Why have they still got cities if civilization has collapsed? Oh well, who cares? Let's keep going. Scum's mission is total anarchy on a global scale. City by city, they slice through urban lands with a big knife, stealing and profiting from the chaos and terror that they bring. How can you truly profit in a collapsed society? Anyway, in time people revolted, forming their own security force, codenamed STOP, the Special Tactics Operative Patrol. STOP is tasked with freeing the world of the evil Scum forces, oh man, I'm getting very tired of these acronyms now, that have taken the world by storm. Each member of STOP has a unique military skill and was selected to maximise damage to the enemy. Can they survive the fight for freedom? Will they rid the world of Scum? Only time will tell. The fate of the world is in your hands. Also, collect them all. And these are the characters we have. Rico and Tank. And Patriot, which is this one, presumably. And the Eviltons are Skullhawk. Blimey. Cyclops. I'll bet he's only got one eye. And Lady Lead. Or possibly Lady Lead, and she makes dog accessories. Who knows? Right, let's read the character bio for Patriot. Patrick O'Malley. Ex-Irish Army Ranger. Specialist in unconventional warfare. What, like flicking rubber bands? Counter-terrorism and anti-insurgency. Can you truly have insurgents in a collapsed society? Who knows? Anyway, Patriot trained extensively with the US Army, Green Berets and Navy SEALs. He's a master of hand-to-hand combat and holds several advanced belts in Jiu-Jitsu and Kenbo. Haven't heard of that one. And just because he's holding a belt doesn't mean he's any good at it. Perhaps he stole them or found them in a charity shop. Patriot saw heavy action in the Armageddon Wars in the Middle East arena. After the subsequent collapse of world government, he joined forces with STOP, Special Patrol. He joined forces with STOP, you already said that, to help re-establish order in the streets and battle the anarchy being spearheaded by Scum, Street Coalition Urban Militia. Cut along the dotted line. Not going to happen. Interestingly, apparently STOP versus Scum is a registered trademark 2010 of Homie Shop. Interesting. Right, let's see the figure then. Rip, tear, rend. Oh yeah, it's like the world's cheapest G.I. Joe figure, funnily enough. Yeah, he's got very big eyes, again. You'd think he'd be Recon, actually, with those eyes. Also got a bit of a gammy leg, bless him, going on there. Looks like a dog when it's being scratched. Articulation, not great. Strength of figure, not great. And the gun, interestingly, is actually fixed into his hand, so that's not going anywhere. Quite nicely modelled, the gun. Can't really say for the rest of the figure. A bit barrel-chested. The articulation of the legs isn't great either. This is really quite nastily cheap, actually, although it looks kind of a bit more advanced than the figures we were looking at earlier. Not really. But anyway, he can see into people's souls, so what does he care? You go over there with your arm, mate, because I was also sent one of the bad guys. And the female one, as they're often the more interesting figures, so thanks again to Donator. It is Lady Lead. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. She's got a thing growing out of her head. Anyway, let's have a look at her biography. No, they really did try on the packaging. They've used a different font for the enemies. Oh well, what are you going to do? Oh yeah, take the piss on YouTube. Right, a ruthless hired assassin, Lady Lead, earned her bones. She wasn't born with any, she had to earn them. That's a tough upbringing. Contracting for mobsters worldwide, incredibly athletic and possessing lethal fighting skills, you know, like every female character in a film since 2002. It is wise not to underestimate her will and ability to destroy an opponent or target. Having a deep-rooted hatred and disdain for all men... She works with two of them, that's odd. Anyway, all men, Lady Laid fancies herself as an Amazon warrior. She's been reading Wonder Woman, and has dedicated her life to becoming stronger and more macho than any man. Right, so we're supposed to believe she has dedicated her life to being macho, and yet she wears a fairly revealing bra halter top thing. Yeah, because that's about as macho as you can get, isn't it? In a relentless pursuit of power and domination, Lady Laid pledged her services to Scum, a street coalition urban militia, and has sworn to destroy STOP, and its tireless efforts at establishing rule of law in the streets. Yeah, because we don't want rule of law in the streets. That would be boring or something, I don't know. Let's have a look at the figure and stop motivating her. I was going to say motivating her analysis rather than analysing her motives. Yeah, let's try and get that the right way round. Okay, she likes pistols, apparently. So much so that she's got two, look. Isn't she a lucky girl? No, she's not a lucky girl, because she's as flimsy as all heck. Really badly... Oh my God, what's going on with her spine, look? This goes back to that thing where she had to earn her own bones, look. She obviously didn't fit her own spine properly. And yeah, the elephant in the room here, again, is... Well, for starters, if you look at the eyebrows and the eyes, they do appear to have been what is known in the trade as painted on far too far up and to the left. It's a shame, they've done the tattoos in her head quite nicely. And also, yeah, the tumour. In fact, it looks like she's looking at it. She seems very worried by it, this sort of gigantic growth, like a little satellite dish. It is, of course, part of the plastic that's remained on from the moulding process when it wasn't correctly removed from a sprue or something. Can we get it off? Oh, yeah! Look at that. She has survived surgery and lives to have a strangely pallid mottled chest another day. Hooray for Lady Laid! And her tile... Oh, she's collapsed. Well, I think we saw that coming, really. So, in conclusion, G.I. Joe figures may be very expensive, but they're at least 11 billion times better than whatever these are supposed to be.